Hey guys, hello. This is Tahiry Devine. You can find me on all my social sites as Tahiry Devine. If you have not done so, please go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell for those on YouTube so that you are always notified when I have a video. So hello, greetings to everyone here on my IG family. I'm just coming to you guys briefly just to try to do an update to see how everyone is doing, sharing some insights that have come to me, and hopefully this will be a wonderful message for you guys as well. So I posted yesterday, which was Monday, the day after Mother's Day. I posted a post that got a few responses in my DMs, particularly talking about it is very much possible to honor and love and respect your mother and still acknowledge to yourself the pains and hurts that she may caused you, right? So I really want to talk specifically on the topic of mother-daughter relationships and what to do if you have a toxic relationship with your mother. Particularly many of us do have toxic relationships with our mothers. We have found ways to maneuver in them to be peaceful, if we want to call it that. But I want to really narrow down this whole concept of the mother wound that women experience, and how that when we don't acknowledge that said wound that our mothers imprinted on us and that we take on ourselves and we carry as our own, we end up carrying a more trauma and baggage that's not necessarily our own, but that came from our mother. For example, what a lot of women do, and I mean all children do this, but oh yes, my Chiron and Cancer sisters, that's right, those who have Chiron and Cancer, I'm talking to you. But you don't have to have Chiron and Cancer to experience this, but particularly my women and men who have Chiron and Cancer. Let's get down to the nitty gritty, okay? Let's talk about it, okay? Because Mother's Day just passed, so we can talk now, right? So let's talk about this concept of dealing with our mother wounds. And I don't like to say dealing with it. I want to talk about healing it and how that you can move forward in your life and live prosperous in life. Typically, I'm coming from a woman's perspective here. So for my men who's showing up, thank you for coming in. But we're talking from a woman's perspective, and I know there's a perspective for men as well. But particularly with women, what we do as women, and I'll say from my own experience, what we do sometimes, a majority of the time, is that we start to relate ourselves to our mother's choices and decisions that she's made. And those choices and decisions that she's made most likely has affected us. But what we typically do, we take on the emotional burden, right, of that trauma that our mother has experienced, because we tend to trauma bond. Right? Not only do we trauma bond, we also want to find ways to not cause harm or discourse to our mother. So we don't speak when we feel something has been infringed upon us. We don't necessarily know how to articulate ourselves, because we go through this idea of like, am I being disloyal by saying, hey mom, when you do this how it makes me feel? Because typically we may try to talk to our mothers about a particular idea or subject in our life that may have been pushed off or brushed off, like, oh, it's not that serious, I don't want to talk about it. And what we do, we tend to dig it deeper into ourselves. And what it does, that burden that we have taken on starts to bury within us and creates a hole. And we start growing this hole the size of our mother. And the only way for us to truly heal that is that you may never have recourse with your mother in this lifetime, okay? And I want people to be very clear. When we talk about healing mother-daughter relationships, it will not always look like a perfect or ideal idea of what a mother-daughter relationship should look like. What a mother-daughter relationship looks like as far as healing is concerned is when you are fully whole and complete within yourself outside of your mother's story. For example, some of us may have come from single parent households, mother households, and we have seen our mother go through a lot of different experiences as it pertains to whatever her relationships, her finances, her perspective of herself, and we adopt it as our own because this is my mom. And there's this murky line between separating yourself from your mother and having your own identity within her. So we start to merge our stories, become our mother. Well, I'm like this because my mama did like this. My mama had to do that. So I have to be this. I have to be that. So much of our identity is becoming strictly parallel to our mother's experiences, right? When then we get to a place where we realize, like, oh my God, I have not lived my own life. I have lived in this concept or idea of my mother. And some of us don't always get there. I could remember for my personal self, it was years when it came up to me. It came up to me in my early 20s, and I wasn't ready to deal with it. It wasn't until I got to my late 20s when I was like, okay, I have to establish my own identity. I am not my mother. Every single choice I made up to that my mid 20s, every single decision was based off how my mother would feel, how my mother would perceive it, how my mother would want me to be. And I lived my life that way. And many of us do that. We live and create our identities based on our mothers. And that where it becomes unhealthy. And so what my goal as of right now, what will be the series topics that we'll be discussing the remainder of this month, is really diving deeper into healing daughters and loving our mothers. Because it's very much possible to love and honor, respect your mom, and still acknowledge the pains, the hurts that has come from the relationship that you may have, or the lack of relationship that may come with your mother. So I look forward to sharing this more with you guys. If you guys are interested in being in this conversation with us, make sure you join my private groups. You can join by going to TahiryDevine.com, which is my website, by joining my mail list. You can also join if you sign up for any of my classes or courses, or buy any products for me. You can sign up or opt in for the mail newsletter as well. I look forward to you guys. And I want to make another quick announcement, which I should have done in the beginning, is that this Sunday, May 17th, we are hosting another astrology class. It's going to be live. We'll be going through the natal chart. So if you're interested in going through your own personal natal chart, learning more about your natal experiences and how you can utilize it to better your life in love, finances, money, wealth, life purpose, healing, whatever your personal goal may be with your natal chart, we definitely dig deep into that in our live class. So you'll be provided with your natal chart. If you already have one, you can bring that with you, and we'll go through it with the class. And it's really great. And I love that you mentioned the Chiron and Cancer, because we had our last group that we were all Chiron and Cancers, and we were definitely talking a lot about that placement and how it manifests for us differently. So I look forward to the class, and I look forward to you guys joining my mailing list and talking more about healing our daughters and loving our mothers. Thank you guys. Until next time.